yesterday.
Hey, I'm over at my mom's. What's that? There's a lot of changes going on. Maybe you and I should have coffee. Do you want to have coffee in the morning? I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I have the day off. Okay, that's a lie. I'm doing a lot of things tomorrow, but not in the morning. Let me know. Thanks.
The following day.
So I told Jim I wanted to go to Tucson, and he always has that look in his face, like he's not okay with stuff. So it's a very passive aggressive way of just basically throwing me off and making me feel like I've got to fix it. So it's like a, what do you call it? Sourness about him, right? So I'm like, what? He goes, fine, go, like that. And so I start freaking out and I start thinking that I can't do what I need to do. And I go in there and I go, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If I can't have freedom and trust to go do simple things like this, like any woman of any wife should be able to just do something like this. And he's like, you're right, go ahead, go. Yep, go ahead, and just the way he does it, it doesn't sound like he's changing. It sounds like he's just doing it for show, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just like, no, it's fine. He goes, well, you know how I feel about you spending the night, blah, blah, blah. It's so far away. You don't know what's going on down there. I don't know what's going on down there. I don't know who you're going to see. I don't know who you're going to meet. I don't know if you're going to run into your ex. The way he always talks about me going down to Tucson makes it sound like I'm going to be guilty no matter what is really the truth. He just assumes it. And so he's throwing his just anger around, and then I said, no, it's fine. I don't need this. I really don't need this. I'd rather just stay. And he goes, you going tomorrow and just having a day trip, that's another thing. I go, okay, there's a compromise. I'll do that. That sound right? He goes, no, just go ahead and go now. That's what you want. You want to go now. Go ahead and go. I ain't stopping you. And he's getting all angry. So now at this point, I'm just whatever. I'm kind of spinning. I'm feeling really sticky and yucky from running around all day. And so I decided I was going to take a shower, change clothes, just in the middle of the day. And as I'm thinking about doing this, he's like, you have no idea. I was going to take you out. I was going to go do something with you, but now you want to go. Well, I'm like, you didn't, whatever. You did not want to take me out. You did not want to. He's like, whatever, you don't know. So we're just bickering back and forth. And then finally, I'm in the bathroom naked, just about ready to get in the shower. And he's, get in here. Let's figure out a place for you to live. Let's figure out where you're going to move to. Because you're just trying to leave me anyway. Well, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like he has no idea that I'm looking at apartments. He has no idea that I'm thinking about moving out. But he can sense something, or he's just pushing me out, because I think he was doing a bluff, like, you just want to go to Tucson means you want to leave me. So it's like he jumps 3,000 whatever scales. So then we're looking at places for a hot second, and then he gets more angry. He's just fighting. He doesn't really want to look at places. He's just trying to manipulate the situation for me. I said, what do you want me to do? Go bawl my eyes out and say, no, it's okay. I don't want to move. Blah, blah, blah. I can't afford it. I just, in my mind, going, okay, I guess this is how this ends. Okay, he's going to push me out. I guess that's easier than me sneaking out. Okay, whatever, and so I'm just waiting to see how this plays out. And then he just kept, oh, you never tried. I'm like, whatever. Don't tell me I didn't try, and he goes, I can tell you what I want to tell you. That's how I feel. Don't tell me how I don't. I'm like, okay, that you can feel that way. You can feel that I didn't try, but I know I did, and I don't have to agree. He goes, just admit it. I go, I don't have to admit anything. And he got so angry, he picks up this chunk of metal that he forged down with his aluminum cans, and it's like a brick. He chucks it to the wall, and he made a big hole in the wall. And I'm like, okay, now you're scaring me. I'm naked. I'm in the bathroom. He's getting closer and closer. He's cornering me. I feel very vulnerable, very scared. He's raising his voice. He's calling me names, and he's just getting really irate. And I tell him, I'm going to call your mom. And he goes, don't get her into this, blah, blah, blah. Very wrong thing to say. And I go, then I'm going to have to call the police because you're scaring me. And he's like, you fucking bitch, can't pull me out. I kept trying to shut the door, kept trying to push him out, kept trying to, move forward on him and make him back out. And he would start to back out. And then I'd close the door, and then he'd push his way back in. finally, I said something about calling the cops or something, and he left, and I was able to get the door latched and locked. And then I went into the shower and started crying, and I grabbed my smartwatch and started calling Randy, Brandon's girlfriend. And I had talked to her recently, and so she kind of knows what's up, and she told me to call her whenever, and she's the closest by, of besides you.
Oh,
And
Brandon's girlfriend.
yeah, Brandon's
I
girlfriend.
don't know why they said Randy. Okay.
Yeah, Randy's her name.
Oh.
I
Okay.
called Randy.
Okay.
And so she came, she said, okay, what's going on? And I go, I'm scared. And she goes, is he acting a jerk? And she goes, I said, yeah. And she goes, do you need us to come over? I go, yes, please. She goes, okay, I'm calling Brandon. We're on our way. And within 5 minutes, I'm getting out of the shower, and Brandon comes at the door, and Jim sees him, and that fucking cunt, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe she called. And Brandon's like, okay, Dad, come on, let's go. And he takes him over to the side of the house where they are talking, and I'm getting stuff in the car, and I'm realizing I can't go to Tucson by myself. Jim's not in a healthy state of mind. I can't leave the kids here. I need to bring the kids with me. So I tell the kids to get their stuff. I tell the kids we're going to Tucson. I start leaving. I feel safe to leave, because if I tried leaving when Jim was like this, without somebody distracting him, I wouldn't be able to get out of the house, let alone the driveway. And I'm backing out, and Matthew hears that we're going to Tucson, and he gets out of the car and he takes a stand. He goes, I'm not going to Tucson. I'll stay here before I go to Tucson. Now, you want to go to your mom's house? I'll go to your mom. I'll go to your mom's, but I'm not going to Tucson. And I'm looking at the door open. I'm looking at him standing. I'm looking at him being really, really firm about this, and I need to get going. So I go, okay, bub, let's go to my mom's. And he gets in the car, and he's like, okay. And he's trying to take a stand. Like, he's trying to, I don't know if he's doing it for his dad, or he's doing it for him, or he's just doing what he thinks is right, but whatever, I'm driving to my mom's, and I start crying and shaking, and I'm getting closer and closer, and I start moving slower and slower. I'm like going 3 miles an hour in Sun City, and I'm like, I can't keep going. I just can't. And Brooklyn's like rubbing my shoulder. It's okay, Mom, it's okay. And she can definitely tell something's up. And Matthew's like, what? What are you doing? Why are you being stupid? It's just being really rude and everything. And I go, Matthew, I can't do it. I can't run away to my mom's house. Everything about my mom symbolizes running away. Everything about my mom's house symbolizes giving up on her marriage, not trying hard enough, blah, blah, blah. I can't sit in her house with my kids and not run back to Jim, not run back and say, I'm sorry, I'm the one that made you mad, blah, blah, because it's just it's too traumatizing to be near my mom and not feel like I'm doing him wrong, So I says, I just can't do it. I'd rather go back and tell Dad sorry. I'd rather go back and tell Dad sorry. And Brooklyn's like, don't do that, Mom, don't do that. And Matthew's like, no, Mom, you didn't do anything wrong. Dad was wrong. Dad shouldn't have yelled. And I go, I just can't go to Mom's. And then Brooklyn's like, why don't we go to Tucson? And I go, but Matthew doesn't want to go to Tucson. And this isn't about me. This is about us. All three of us need to agree on what we do. And he goes, it's okay. We can go to Tucson, Mom. Mm-hmm. So I turned around. I didn't even get to my mom's house. And I start heading towards the freeway. And Matthew's all, so where are we going then? And I'm like, well, I thought you said it was okay that we go to Tucson. He goes, oh, yeah, that's okay. I thought you were headed back home. And I go, okay. So that gave me another confirmation that I could go. And we drove and we sang songs, and we were basically didn't talk about much of it for a long time. And then as we started going, Matthew was really trying to wrap his head around Dad and me and what's going on. And so we had a lot of time to have heart-to-hearts, but a lot of good space in between where we didn't. So it was nice. It was good that I had the drive with them. And then we arrive at my brother's, and I had stayed in touch with Randy throughout the drive here and there. And we get to my brother's, and my kids go inside, and they're playing with their cousins, and I'm not quite ready to go in yet. Brandon calls me to tell me about the conversation him and his dad had. And basically, Brandon told me that he sees it from both sides, and he thinks that I'm doing the right thing. He thinks that his dad has been enabled all his life. His parents are not helping, his grandparents are not helping, and he just feels like all all the same markers are there that his dad did to his mom that he's doing to me now. And he thinks that his dad is the common denominator, and that if I leave, then his dad might have a chance of seeing where he's gone wrong and get help and do what he needs to do. But if I stick around, then it'll just keep cycling into that same bad behavior. And he loves his dad, and he respects his dad, and he wants the best for his dad, but he knows his dad's an asshole. So he knows how his dad is. He watched his dad grow up and get angry for no reason, and you know what I mean? So it was really good that Brandon was there, because Brandon saw it for what it was, and it gave me all the validation I needed. So I had like a good conversation with Brandon for like an hour. He even said, Crystal, and what Randy said about you the other day is true. I did tell Randy that you are the nicest person that I know. And I just wanted to let you know I really love you and I think you're awesome. I'm like, Brandon said that? Brandon's never said anything like that to me. I've never had that connection with Brandon. I always thought that I was annoying or something to him, So I felt a big weight lifted off my shoulder after that conversation with Brandon, knowing that he was taking care of his dad and he was going to keep checking in on him, knowing that Jim doesn't need me to take care of him and I can let go. I felt like a ghost hanging around that needed to move on, and that I was able to just enjoy my brother, enjoy his kids. We were able to make a cute little movie while I was down there. And then as I was thinking about what time to leave Tucson, knowing that it was Sunday night, I'm like, kids need to get ready for school. They probably want some time to themselves before bedtime. I'm going to leave them with their dad at their dad's house because they have all their stuff and their clothes and their beds and everything, right?
Rain, get out.
And I thought about maybe leaving by 3 or 4 to get home by dinner time. So I told the kids my plan. And Matthew's like, oh, no, Mom, I'd like to have some part of my weekend today. I don't want to just get home and then have to go to bed really quick after dinner, And I go, that sounds fair, So I was trying to let him know that he's got to buy in. He's got a little bit of say on how this happened. It's just not Mom demanding how this goes. And so I said, I respect that. So what time do you think we should leave? And he's like, 2? And it was almost noon when he said that. So we spent some more time with the cousins and whatnot. And we left about 2:30 and we got on the road and we had another good heart-to-heart. And Matthew's talking to me about balance and not being black and white all the time and trying to see the gray. And like Matthew's giving me these lectures about what balance looks like, because he's processing. He's recognizing that his dad's not balanced. He's recognizing what balance looks like. And I'm like, yeah, good job. But he says, that Karate Kid TV show that I'm watching? And I'm all, yeah. And he goes, that's like a gray. That's like not a black and white. It's not good or evil. It's like, that's a gray,
What program is he watching?
The Karate Kid from the 80s?
Oh, so he's watching actually that, or is he watching Cobra Kai?
Cobra Kai. He watched all the Karate Kid movies, and he says the movies are very black and white, but the TV show is very gray because it shows the angle of the Cobra side, and you're not angry with the Cobra side, I guess is how he was saying. You see the good and bad of both sides, And I just thought that was really good of him, because we talked about the wolf inside of us. Which wolf survives? It's the one that you feed, whether you feed the angry one or you feed the positive one, So we had a lot of heart-to-hearts about what Dad's going through. And what Dad has gone through all these years was feeding his fear. He was feeding his jealousy. He was feeding his anger. He was looking for things to be angry about all the time. And so if Dad could just choose to feed what's positive in his life and stop feeding that wolf that eats him up with fear all the time, he could probably be happier. But we can't allow him to treat us the way he treats us. And they all agree. I mean, they see it too. But
yeah, that tea was really sweet, so I'm just going to drink some water because I'm going to be getting a massage at 10. I know he wants me drinking something, so I'll just drink some water. When did Jim ship himself into the hospital?
Yesterday morning. I came home and I dropped the kids off on Sunday night. That's when you saw me in the side of the house there.
Yeah, where did you go afterwards?
My mom's.
Oh.
I stayed in the driveway, into the driveway for like 30 minutes about. I don't even know how long I stayed there, but I had a big migraine, big stomach ache, wanted to throw up. I felt so bad. And I just needed a rest with the window down. I didn't want to drive. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to do anything. Plus, if Jim wanted to talk to me, I didn't want to make it look like I was scared and running away, right? I was calmer, he was calmer, and I was open to a talk. And Brooklyn knew it. That's why she told her dad, Mom's open to talking to you if you want to talk. He comes out there looking all angry and depressed and just like he hadn't slept kind of thing. And he goes up to my window, and I had the window rolled down, and I'm looking at my phone, and he goes, I'm sorry. And then he turns around and goes back in the house. And typically, that's when I would say, come back, let's talk, blah, 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 you know, and I drag him back to talk about things. But I'm like, that's the apology you're going to give me? I didn't say nothing. That's what I was thinking in my mind. And he went back in the house. And I just sat there. I'm there for me. I'm there for me, for my headache, for my stomach ache, so that I can feel good before I leave, both physically and emotionally. And I just tried to figure out what I was doing there. And I'm thinking to myself, what am I doing here? What do I want from this? What am I going to do? Am I going to talk to him? Am I going to go back to him? Am I going to tell him what's what? Am I going to tell him off? What am I going to do, you know? Next thing I know, he's coming out and he's bringing out the recycle trash because I'm right next to the trash cans. So he has to walk right past my window, and he's ignoring me, but he's he never does the trash. That's Brooklyn's job. So you know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get me to talk to him. And then he comes out again with the trash. So
Yeah, I saw. I was like, what's going on here?
You saw him coming out?
Yeah, I saw him with his trash. I think it's the recycle, like you said. It was in a
little tub, yeah. And then he came out a third time, and he went to his car, went to his trunk, right where I was parked, basically, and doing something. And then he goes to his shed area, the side of the house that he created. And I'm just like, okay, this is how it's going to play out. At some point, we're going to talk. At some point, it's going to get heated. At some point, it's going to be my fault that I'm choosing to leave. I don't like that idea. I like that I left because he was being a jerk. I like that I left because he was pushing me out and telling me to go find a new place to live. I like the way it ended because it wasn't my fault. I'm just going to safety. But now if I leave after a big fight or something, then I look like the jerk that left instead of working it out when we're trying to talk. You know? So no, this isn't going to be my fault. What am I doing here? I know how this conversation is going to play out. Crystal, go. So I turned on the car, laughed at myself, and I went to my mom's. And then that's when I got to my mom's house, and I got a phone call right when I was walking in the door. It was from him, and he said, Brooklyn said you were open to talking. Is that why you were out there for so long? And I'm like, yeah, that's why I was out there. But then I realized that there isn't anything we can talk about. Oh, that's how you feel, blah, blah, you know, and he starts getting on. Don't you know that if you just would have done this, this, and this, then I wouldn't have gotten so angry? And I go, seriously? You scare me at a level 20? You come out there? No, I said, that's your apology? That's how you're going to apologize? And he goes, I said I was sorry. And I go, you called that an apology? You scare me at a level 20 and you come out there and say sorry like that? No, you need a level 20 or more apology. This is not, and then I'm like, I don't even know if you can say sorry to this stuff anymore. This is happening way too often, way too much, and I can't put up with it anymore. I know I'm a jerk. You just need to leave. You just want to get out of here. You don't love me. And I'm like, you just don't get it, you know. And we're going back and forth. He's hanging up on me. I think he hung up me 3 times, and then finally I said, I love you. You need help, but I got to take care of me, you know. And the way he made it sound, he sounded like he was suicidal when I hung up the phone. So I let him be, put my phone on the charger.
Right, what are you doing? What are you chewing on? Make sure she's not chewing on
Her leg or something?
Yeah. Is that her shaved leg? I can't tell.
It looks like her tail, honestly.
Okay, well, so this is her tail.
So I put my phone on the charger because it was practically dead, and I just left it on the counter, and I went and did something else. And then my mom wanted to go to Target, and so I'm like, okay, left my phone on the charger, went to Target without my phone. But the withdrawal symptoms that I was having of being an addict of pleasing Jim, I was going crazy. Like, knowing that he sounded suicidal, knowing that I was hurting him, knowing that I'm off shopping with my mom, that would just throw him for a loop if he knew that. I'm going through all kinds of guilty, shame feelings that I typically go through when it comes to making sure Jim's happy. And I was desperate enough to think about running to the Target cashier, asking for an emergency use of their phone, calling Jim, begging Jim to come and pick me up so that we can work this out. I was thinking, mom's brainwashing me. Mom's trying to get me to leave him. Like, I'm going through these Stockholm syndrome feelings that I don't want to leave him. You know what I mean? And I feel like someone's trying to take me away from my captor. And it was such a weird feeling. And I'm just like, what are you doing, Crystal? And I'm like talking to myself in the Target going, no, let's go look at baby clothes. Why are we looking at baby clothes? Maybe you're meant to have another baby. Maybe you're not, but let's just go look at baby clothes. Like, I'm like trying not to look like a crazy woman, but I was, because I was resisting going to the Target people. And my mom and my sister happened to be there. They're just off doing their own thing. They're not there with me. They don't want me talking about Jim anymore. They don't like that the space that I'm in. They could see that I'm just full of nastiness and anger and upset and pity, and I have so many emotions going on. And then I could laugh in a moment's notice, like, Switchy, if that's what you call it, from all the different noodles. I am going crazy in the Target. And they're just off doing their own thing, shopping, wondering, okay, Crystal will figure this out. And I was still sick to my stomach, still nauseated, and just wanted to, puke. But I ended up getting back to the car, and we went back to the house, and my mom got me something to eat. And I didn't talk to Jim for the rest of the night, but I couldn't sleep. But I was emotional as all get out. And I got inspired to wake up right at 6:58 the next morning. I think I had 3 hours of sleep yesterday, morning. And I went straight to my phone, and that's when I saw Jim's text messages. Jim's text messages were apologetic. He said that he apologized to Monique, his ex, and he told me what he wrote to her.
Rain! Goodness, give it up, dog.
Go do something else. Go get a toy. So I just, I went over and talked to him because I was going to go over there anyway to make sure the kids were getting ready for school and stuff. And he wasn't sobbing, he wasn't crying, he wasn't in an emotional state at all. He was strong and he knew what he was doing. He was dressed, he was getting ready, but he wasn't going to work. So it just seemed really controlled, whatever he was going through. And the longer I talked to him, the longer I realized that he had been on the phone with the suicide hotline most of the morning. He'd woken up at 2 a.m. And he'd been having a hard morning. And I was going through my wigging out thinking he's manipulating.
Here, let me see if she needs to go potty.
Okay.
She at the door, that's usually her way of saying it.
That's good.
So he was on the suicide hotline.
Yeah, of course I don't find any of this out until after I basically have to listen to all his I'm sorry's, excuse, explanation. Like, it didn't feel like the kind of simple I'm sorry's that would show me that he's willing to change or that he's willing to own it. It sounded like the type of I'm sorry's that he wants to explain it away and give it a reason for everything. And basically, he's autistic is how he's putting it. He's got Asperger's. He can't handle his emotions. He's trying to learn. It's all coming down hard at once. He doesn't know how to deal with this. He's never learned how to deal with it, his anger or his upsets before. And he became very emotional just about that, not about how he treated me or how he's been all these years or how he knows he needs to stop doing that. And he just was being very, I don't know, it just...
He's not going to be able to be that until he's actually gone through some intensive stuff.
Right.
I mean,
so I definitely knew he wasn't ready. And I said, you're not ready. That's okay. I don't expect anybody to be ready in one night or 2 nights. You know what I mean? Like, you've got some work to do. And I don't need to be here while you do it. You're processing. You're dealing with stuff. You're grieving. You're going through something. I'm a ghost hanging around. I gotta go. Oh, okay. Well, I'm checking myself into a hospital. And I'm like, whatever. So I felt like that was manipulative. And by the time I got through it, I took him to the behavioral center myself. Gave him a hug.
Aurora.
And I dropped him off, gave him a hug, told him he was brave for asking for help, told him that he was on the right path, told him that I'll always love him. And as long as he doesn't expect anything of me, this is okay. He goes, I do not expect you to be there when I come back. And I go, okay. He says, and then I talked to him last night.
No, we don't chase the cat. We don't chase the cat. Get over here, Rain. Oh my goodness, dog. You can't chase. I gave her less sedatives, thinking, well, maybe the sedatives are making her...
Not pee?
Yeah, not pee. I'm gonna get the leash, because she can't be chasing the cat.
Hi, kitty. Hi, Leo.
And she's jealous. She's not... Yeah, she's jealous. She doesn't want Leo to get attention.
Right. Riley's the same way. She can't stand anybody getting attention.
No, we don't chew on the leash.
But yeah, he's not ready, and I can't hang around. But I talked to him last night while he was in the hallway at the Aurora place, and he was more taking in the environment and what he's dealing with over there than he was thinking about me or us or the future. And so I wasn't quite ready to tell him that I applied for an apartment. I wasn't quite ready to tell him that I'm moving out soon or anything like that. I'm like, I should probably tell him while he's in there so he could deal with it while he's in there. But I'm not ready to tell him tonight, so.
Sit. Ew. Is that... I'm gonna go wash my hand. I don't know what that wet stuff was.
Is her pee next to her fur?
Yeah, maybe he can work on it there. I mean, if he gets out without knowing, he might check himself back in.
Right. Plus, I don't want him to feel like I was being sneaky about it. I mean, I felt like I had to because I knew he couldn't handle it. But now that he's in there, I feel like if there's anywhere he's going to handle it, it's going to be there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But no, he's telling me that it's full of criminals and druggies and people that are not at all like him. And I'm in the car with the kids and they can hear what I'm saying. And he's all, what do the kids know? And I go, I told them that you went to go get help, that you weren't feeling very good and that you wanted to feel better. And you want to, be a better dad, because that's what he told me. He wants to be a better dad and he wants to show up for his kids better. So this place is going to help. And that's all I told him. He goes, thank you, And then the kids got in the car. And so the kids heard the conversation when I was driving back to the house. And he basically said that he doesn't know how many days he's going to be in there for. He has to still work that out with the doctors and whatnot. They did the eval. And they gave him some medication. And he's not happy about the pillow that he has to sleep on, because it's like he's called it a tortilla. And he likes his pillows the way he likes them at home. And, he likes certain foods. There's nothing to drink but water, tea or coffee. And he doesn't drink much of any of that. He's just a soda man. So he's just having to deal with a lot of real things like that. He had to sacrifice a lot just to get himself help, And I was just about ready to tell him that I'm got an apartment and I'm moving out tomorrow, but I'm like, no, he's still processing the fact that he's there. He's still trying to handle the fact that he is in he's low enough to be where the low people go, you know? And I said something to the effect that, I said, so you're feeling out of place, huh? And he goes, yeah, I'm feeling really out of place. You know, I feel like I shouldn't be here. And then Brooklyn says, well, at least it's the good out of place, you know, because she knows that you'd rather go there for mental health reasons than to go for drug or addiction, you know. And I said, I'm proud of you for not being the type that fell onto drugs and alcohol, you know, because a lot of the people there are still struggling with a lot of the same emotions that you're going through, but they got themselves into, you know, patterns and habits that you didn't. So you were strong enough to stay away from those things. I mean, I am glad that we don't have drugs and alcohol as a problem in our marriage, because that would just add a whole new layer to it. But so I was just trying to give him props, and I said, I love you and I'll always love you, but yeah, I got to take care of me and you're taking care of you, and we're doing this the right way. And the kids hear us saying that, so if they hear that it's going to be an amicable, soft split, you know, it's not going to be this ugly thing that he's expecting and I was expecting, and so it just feels good. It feels better. So I was able to go to sleep in peace last night, and I'm able to wake up with a plan this morning, like, okay, we got to get this, got to do that, got to do that. That's pretty much all this whole story up until that point. Sorry, it took me forever.
It's okay. It's okay. So where did you sleep when you were at your mom's?
On her couch.
Oh, on the couch.
She's got a nice big comfy couch, and I wouldn't mind sleeping there more often if I had to, but before Jim went into the hospital, I knew it would be too easy to go back to him. And so because he was in the hospital, I stayed with the kids last night. And I'll stay with the kids every night until he comes back. Even if I do get a place today, you know. And I'm gonna get beds for them and stuff. I'll give Brooklyn my day bed. I'll get me something a little bigger for me. And my, what do you call it, my box spring that my day bed used to be on before I got the day bed. It's underneath Jim's bed right now. So I'll grab that before I go so that Matthew can get a mattress, and I'll just put it on top of the box spring for him, you know.
You don't need to be up there. You don't need to be up there. No, you don't.
How are you guys doing?
As long as she keeps on peeing, I'll feel better about her. I told you how I kind of hurt my knee trying to sit down, and because of her being close by and the ottomans anyway, so like right behind my kneecap hurts. And I'm like, I think I'm going to say something, and I'm like, oh crap, no. So, but then going up and down up and over the child gate really bothers my knees. So, I'm feeling better than yesterday, but I've iced them a couple times. I've stretched, I've tried to rest.
The